Yes, this video is very dark. It is pitch black outside. It's December. It's cold. It's winter. I didn't get home till late from work. I'm tired. So just forget about this video as a visual and listen and hear the message if you're interested on more part 2, part 2 of being a Blu-ray. Blu-rays can often get isolated or feel isolated, and it's not because they're not popular. They're incredibly popular. Like I said in the previous video, Blu-rays are a magical aura about them. They have a magical energy, and it's very pure energy, and people are very attracted to their energy. In fact, they're magnetic as human beings. You will recognize a Blu-ray when they walk into a room because they can light up the room. They don't even have to say a word. You know, Dolores Cannon talked about the second wave of souls just even walking through a shopping mall. I'm going to sneeze. Okay, moving on. Walking through a shopping mall, and they have no clue that they're literally throwing out all this high vibrations and light as they walk through the shopping mall. The beauty of the Blu-ray soul is they have no clue the impact they have on other people. They're incredibly liked because they have this loving, open, very innocent energy. But because they're used to being the teachers, the caregivers, the healers, they're used to giving instruction, they're used to having the answers for other people. Sometimes in their life, when it's time for their soul to grow, they can be reluctant to reach out and ask for answers for themselves. And this can cause them to push people away because they have this idea that if I can't do it on my own, I can't do it. And that's not true. So for some blues, it's important that you allow other people into your sphere. You drop your walls, that you allow other people see you vulnerable and see you when you're not at your absolute best, when you're not at your absolute strongest, maybe when you're not at your brightest, you know, it's okay, because blues can often forget that they are human in a flesh, blood and bone body. And they're so spiritually inclined. They're so focused and have a very strong spiritual perspective that they can forget that they're allowed to be vulnerable, that they're allowed to be human and have a human experience. So, you know, if you're a blue and sometimes you feel a bit too blue, you know, because you're on your own and you're struggling with something, it's important that you allow yourself to say, hello, can you help me? Pick up the phone, call a friend. Don't be afraid to speak up and be assertive on your behalf. Again, using your strong point to help yourself. Don't be afraid to say, I'm struggling with this. Can someone help me? Because as a Blu-ray, you will be the first person, like a little blue bird, to swoop in and help somebody else when they need help. You will be the first person to give of your time and energy to others. But blues can sometimes struggle with knowing that their energy, that their time is important also for themselves, and that other people's time and energy is also there for them to take, to receive. You know, there's times in life to give, but there's also times in life to receive. And we have to know when it's our time to receive, and we have to keep the yin yang in balance. So Blu-rays, if you're feeling that you've become too independent, soften your energy, open your heart and reach out, and don't be afraid to be part of something outside of yourself. Now, I know you know you're part of the all is one energy, you're part of source, because you're born with that memory. You haven't forgotten that. You have a very strong spiritual awareness about you. But it is important as well that you allow collaboration, that you allow partnership, and that you allow teamwork, because naturally as a blue, you'll be more introverted, you love quiet time alone, and that's important. You get that, very important. For the blue to recharge, you need some alone time. You need to give yourself permission to say to the world, not today world, It's just it's just me and a cozy blanket and a good book or whatever. But too much of that will get anybody out of balance, because you are here to have this human experience and to connect. And in order to connect, we have to allow ourselves to be whatever that is in the moment. We have to be open and vulnerable to whatever that is in the moment, and to letting other people see that side of us, because we're so used to being the healer, the fixer, the soother, the savior in some ways for others. And it's important that we don't attach to that, because other people will often be dazzled by your power and by your giving nature and by your selflessness. But it's important that you don't become attached to that and identify with that, because that will prevent you from fleshing out your very human, vulnerable experience, which requires you at times not to be available, not to be strong, to allow yourself to break down and break through. That's part of the deal here. So don't deny yourself that full experience because you're trying to keep yourself in this, this mode of perfection, of giving, because that will burn you out, and it will burn you out. It's important that you understand that, and that you keep a balance and look at, tend to your self-care, because as a giver, and even if you're not actively seeking to give, okay, as a Blu-ray, when you walk into a room, people just are drawn to your magnetic energy field. And you'll often find as well, it can be confusing in your dating life, because the people that you're dating will love this healing, soothing energy, and they can actually fall in love with the energy and not necessarily the personality, human expression of you. And you may find that people very easily fall in love with you, but it's not actually the real soul you they're falling for. It's the energy. It's the fact that you're nurturing, you're kind, you're loving, you're not criticizing them, you're open. They're like, I feel like I can tell you anything. You probably heard that a lot as a Blu-ray. I feel I can just share all my secrets with you, and I know that it's safe. I know that I'm not being judged. So keep that in mind, that can be a one-way street where they're getting a lot from your energy, but you may not be necessarily receiving a lot from them. And then that can become a real out of balance relationship or exchange, where you're showing up as the teacher, as the giver, and they're showing up as the taker. And that's where Blu-rays can get themselves into toxic relationships. And they can become the workhorse in their jobs, because they'll say yes to everything, because they are incredibly responsible people. And they, when their word is gold. So when they say they're going to do a job, they'll give it 150%, which can cause them to become, the trusty workhorse in their jobs. It's important that you keep a balance to that, and that you don't allow people to take advantage or to abuse your very compassionate, warm nature. What else do I want to say about Blu-rays? Just again that, you have no idea how powerful you are. You really, if you're a Blue, you'll be very, very humble, and usually very, very innocent about the effect you have on people. And even though all your life people have told you the effect they've had, you'll still be shocked and surprised when people say, thank you so much. You saved me through that experience. You helped me through that experience. You were a great support. Your kindness really, made a difference that day in my life. You'll be like, oh, wow, because it's easy for you to do that. It's your nature to be giving, to be loving. You wouldn't know how to be anything else. So it's kind of a surprise that people would even recognize that, because you're thinking, well, what else would I have done? I am a healer. I am a soother. I am a caregiver. I am a teacher. So that's another thing as well. It's incredibly lovely about the Blues, is that they don't recognize how beautiful their nature is, and their gentleness. You know, blues are known for their gentleness. There's a tenderness in how they touch people, not just with their physicalness, but also with their words. And that brings me to a point as well. Blues do not enjoy negative, violent media of any kind. If there's a terrible violent scene in a film, they'll have to get up and leave the room. They need to protect themselves from those images because they're super sensitives. It's just if that goes into their energy field, it can cause havoc. And it's important that you do recognize that boundary. Don't be afraid. I used to suffer through certain horrible, with a load of friends and watching some horrible violent film or something. And I would try to kind of keep my sensitive nature under wraps and try to be normal watching this normal film. I don't do that anymore. I know who I am. I've no interest in looking at someone being murdered or raped or anything horrible like that. That is not entertainment to me. It's not interesting. I don't want to see it. I'm not interested. And people who know me and love me accept that about me. They'll just, oh, there's Aoibheann, she's gone out of the room. Even if I'm walking into someone's room, there's a TV on and there's something really heavy, dense stuff on the news, I'll just walk right back out. I don't need to expose myself to that, and neither should you. If it feels comfortable for you to leave, well then, if that's what your instinct is saying, please don't suffer through that. Just leave. Just because everybody else is watching the car crash doesn't mean you have to, right? You have your own free will. You decide what gets put into your higher consciousness. So having access to uplifting images and visualizations and information is important for the blue rays, as it is for everybody, for all souls, but some people will just feel that stuff on a more sensitive bone level than others. Animals will be very important to you. Birds are especially connected to blues. There's a powerful connection with birds. Birds will be strong messengers in your life. They will show up at times of birth and death to prepare you, to give you a warning, or to inspire you. The blue avians, blue rays have a connection, a strong connection as well with the blue avians. If you don't know who the blue avians are, you can look that up. They are a type of cosmic species, I suppose is a word for it. And they're blue frequency too, but they're bird-like, okay? So birds will play a strong role in your life. I have had so many incidences in my life where, like, I remember before a family member passed, a bird flew into the kitchen and just sat there and looked me straight in the eye, and I received the information from source. I knew that was source in that bird saying to me, so-and-so's going to die, get prepared, get your energy lined up for it. And it was very helpful because the next day that phone call came and I took the day off college, I was mentally prepared, physically got prepared, and it helped me to be a pillar of strength for others and myself at that time. So that kind of thing with birds, that's what I mean. And you'll know yourself, it'll feel like a personal message when that bird comes into your energy field or comes within you. Also, because birds have wings, you're very attracted to winged creatures. So angels, fairies, sylphs, elementals, butterflies, these symbols of transformation, of loving energies, of nature, elemental energies. These all mean a lot to you as a blue ray as well. Wings, freedom, transformation, healing, spirit. Wings represent spirit and liberation, being a free spirit. Blues are free-spirited people. That's why they don't necessarily want to affiliate themselves with other groups. They're not a sheep mentality. They don't need to have this idea that there's safety in numbers. No, safety for a blue ray will be, I'm safer on my own, do my own thing, connected to my higher self. And that's perfectly fine. Now, we live in an extrovert Western society that will probably try to tell you otherwise. You know, come out of your shell, all this kind of stuff. But I just don't agree with that. I think you have to be your true nature. And if your true nature is to feel more comfortable in your own company, that's fine. But like I said, do try to keep a balance, and do allow yourself to explore other sides of that. That's all I'm saying. Like, it's not going to be 50-50. You know, you're super sensitive, so the percentage of you wanting to have alone time is going to probably always weigh heavier, bigger. It's going to be a bigger percentage on the side of you having personal space and needing personal space, and that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly grand. But that doesn't mean you should shut yourself off. It doesn't mean you should be afraid to put yourself out in the world and to use that beautiful blue throat chakra and to have a voice. I think I'll keep this short. I don't want to blast you out of it with all my Blu-ray information. Again, I'd love a thumbs up if you found this helpful. The more thumbs up I get, the more I can see the topics, the areas that you want me to expand on. It helps me out as well, you know, because I want to reach more and more super sensitive people of all soul groups who are on the spiritual path. And I don't know if I'm going to get to wish you a Merry Christmas or whatever way you celebrate this time of year. I just want to say, we say Merry Happy Christmas here in Ireland. We say Nulla Cheona Gwitch, which is Happy Merry Christmas. So I'm wishing Nulla Cheona Gwitch to you and yours. I hope that this video was helpful and helped you to connect some more dots about who you are and why you are the way you are. Please know that your energy is beautiful, it's strong, it's powerful. You are literally, and Dolores Cannon even said this as well about the second wavers, which are the Blu-rays are part of that. You are having a massive impact. Just by looking in someone's eyes, there's light codes being exchanged. You know, using light language as a communication, singing, soothing with your words, writing. But even apart from any of that, you just walk through a room and beam out that beautiful energy field, and people feel it. It's a loving presence. And all the different soul groups have that, but yours is, there's a certain finesse to it. It's a very, very high, it's a very clear vibration. The crystals and Blu-rays would be very similar, but the Blu-rays just have more blue frequencies going on, more blue vibrations, where the crystals is more crystalline. So yeah, I hope that this is helpful. Thanks for the thumbs up. I really do appreciate it, and I appreciate you. Have a wonderful Christmas, as they say in America, happy holidays. I think that's great for covering everything, for everybody's different belief systems. I might do another video before then. I've got a lot going on. I'm actually moving. So with Christmas is quite a lot to juggle anyway. I'm also moving now as well. So I'm very, very excited about that. Mwah. Nulla Cheona Gwitch. So much love to you, and chat soon.